more than any candidate in history, and I'm hopeful that Iowans reward hard work. I think they do.
They've got really good chicken at that place, too. I don't know if you've had it. Why do you think Elon Musk is saying you're going to do better than people think?
I think he's a smart guy, and look, we'll see what happens tonight. But one of the things is I think the polls are dramatically off. Many of our supporters are first-time caucus goers, people who may have come from younger generations, people who may have been libertarian-leaning but haven't traditionally been polled in Republican caucuses. And I think a lot of our supporters, we don't have lukewarm supporters, Steve. No. We have diehard supporters, and I think that's what's going to be rewarded tonight as well.
And I just told you about how I've got family members and friends who are love you. And Doctor, one of the things about him is he's got some new ideas and some new approaches.
Yes.
He's a young guy who, as you've seen, has really worked the state of Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we are not politicians. We're people who have made a living in the United States, and we work hard, and that really resonates with a lot of Iowans. They've become dear friends over the course of this year because we have been here day in and day out, and we've heard what they need, what they care about, and that is really resonating. Vivek's message of really bringing something totally new, not just to our whole process, but to the Republican Party as well, and I think that's really resonating.
Why do you think former President Trump threw you under the bus over the weekend?
Well, I didn't get thrown anywhere, but I think there might have been an attempt to do that. I'd say that it's partly because of what
you were under the bus.
Well, look, I'd say what Elon Musk did.
The bus had snow tires on it.
Well, I'll tell you this: I took it in a lighthearted way, but the truth is, people have to have their heads stuck in the snow not to see what's happening on the ground here. I know the mainstream media is ignoring it, but there has been a massive surge here late in the process. A number of endorsers who were widely expected to go to Donald Trump, legends in Iowa like former Congressman Steve King, widely expected to go for Trump, came for me. A number of the strongest constitutionalist conservatives have switched from the other candidates in the last 72 hours to me. Steve Holt came from Ron DeSantis. And so I think people who are actually on the ground are not blinded to that reality. And I think the mainstream media, largely for better or worse, has been, which means I think we're going to see a shock tonight.
And Dr. Apoorva Ramswamy, one of the things about the Iowa caucus is there's no early voting. So it's not like people have already voted. They're going to go to a high school gym or something like that tonight at 7 o'clock, and they're going to decide. They're going to write the name down. And as we've heard, there are a number, and it's not a gigantic number, but there's still a significant number of people who are undecided. And so that's why a late surge is really good for you. If you're going to surge in a campaign, you want to do it on Election Day, caucus day in this case.
Exactly. We have people who, despite this cold, are going to be coming out because they are so passionate about this cause. They have been campaigning this whole process, and especially now. They work so hard all the way late into the night. As many campaign events as we do, we have a staff and a volunteer base who have been working just as hard. And that really speaks to how passionate people are about Vivek's message.
We've invited all the candidates on today, including Donald Trump. I'm going to give you 20 seconds. What would you like to, if you'd like to look over there at camera 2, what would be your closing argument for the folks of Iowa?
If you want somebody who's actually going to get in there, fight the corruption, and speak truth to power, then vote for the one candidate who is speaking the truth to you. And there's a reason I'm the only candidate in this race who's able to say I'll strip vaccine manufacturers of special liability exemptions, or that I'll pardon peaceful J6 protesters on day one, or that I'm against the CO2 pipeline making its way across this state. And the reason is every other candidate is dancing to the tune of their biggest donors. And in my case, my biggest donor is me. And that's what it's going to take to actually shut down the deep state this time. Not just to talk about it, but actually to do it. So if you want somebody who's going to shut down that deep state and revive our national identity for the next generation of Americans, then I think it's going to take the next generation of leadership to do it. And I'm asking you to brave the cold and to caucus for me tonight and to save this country. And we're so grateful for this process.
Thank you very much for joining us. And your last point, be careful, because I know earlier in the week you ran into a ditch, right?
We were okay. I think that George Washington managed to cross the Delaware in bad weather. I think we can do this too.
No kid. All right. Dr. Vivek, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Still ahead, live from Iowa and New York and Washington. Protesters outside the White House last night after the United States carried out retaliatory strikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen over the weekend. Peter Ducey reports live from the White House coming up. Plus, Mark Cuban is wondering if Democrats will cross over and support Nikki Haley. You know what? Nikki Haley is going to be joining us coming up. She's going to sit in Vivek's seat in a couple of minutes.